today we're making
stuffing or dressing, whichever you prefer. We grew up calling it stuffing, even though we never cooked it in the bird.
and then when I started pressure cooking, I love cooking it in the pressure cooker. You're going to love it because once we unmold it, we brown it up in the oven, and you get lots of crispy edges.
Everybody gets an edge piece. There's no more like fighting to be the first one by the stuffing bowl and like planning out your seating so you could sit closest to the stuffing. No, stuffing, everybody gets a crispy piece.
So I'm Barbara.
And I'm Jen.
And we're pressure cooking today.
So we are starting off with melting a whole ton of butter in the pressure cooking pot.
You want some butter, and then you're going to add your chicken broth?
Yeah, the broth. Oh, that's right, because we saute. I'm like, so growing up, this was always the smell that was in the, do we put those?
No, put the vegetables in first.
Okay.
And then we're going to go ahead and hit saute, and we'll saute these vegetables until they're tender.
What, like 3-5 minutes?
Yeah.
It's longer than you do it when you just saute them in butter. Like that simmering helps them really soften and.
Yeah, you don't want too much of a crunch in your stuffing. You want it to be nice and soft. So while that is cooking, let's talk about the bread. So I just bought this. It's a local white bread. I think that white bread, just plain white bread, makes a better stuffing than wheat bread. But you are going to chop it up into cubes for stuffing.
Yeah.
You can buy a stuffing mix, but you get nicer big chunks if you do it yourself.
I don't know, when I cut it, I'll usually take like 4 slices together and I'll cut like 4 times this way, 4 times that way.
Yeah.
And it makes it about that size.
And then you're going to want to put it in a 350-degree oven just to dry it out.
If you're good at planning ahead, you can cut it up and put it on a cookie sheet and leave it out for like a day. And that will kind of dry it out. But I do kind of like the golden from toasting in the oven, especially when you're cooking it in the pressure cooker. You don't get a lot of the golden, how would you say that?
The edges,
Yes.
a little bit more crisp on the edges. When you toast up your bread, it makes it so it isn't soggy. Sometimes you'll get a stuffing and it's just kind of soggy and mushy.
When I first got married, I didn't know about toasting your breadcrumbs or your bread cubes. And so my stuffing was a disaster compared to my mom's. And she's like, well, did you toast it? Oh, don't skip this step. It really doesn't take too long and it makes a big difference.
And when your bread is dried like this, it absorbs more liquid, more of that wonderful flavor. The thing is, when you toast it, you don't know exactly how much liquid it absorbs. So sometimes you'll have to add a little bit more turkey stock or chicken stock. When I'm making Thanksgiving dinner, I like to, like a week before, make a nice turkey stock, a nice homemade turkey stock. And we have a recipe for that on our site. But you can buy turkey stock. Usually it's hard to find unless it's around Thanksgiving time.
Yeah.
So you can substitute chicken stock for sure.
Yeah, and the taste it's pretty much the same. Okay, so we use this little mini bundt pan to cook stuffing in the pressure cooker. You can see it just fits in perfectly with just a little room to spare. This one is a Nordic ware, and as you can see, it's been well used in our house. We use it for like breakfast, bread puddings. What is that? Breakfast casseroles.
Breakfast casseroles.
Bread pudding.
You make a monkey bread with it. You can make banana bread in it.
Or if you just want, you can buy 2 of these will fit a regular bundt pan recipe. So, and we like it because this size will fit in is it quart is the big one? Gallon. What's the big Ziploc? Gallon. The big Ziploc, you can make one, eat it, freeze the second one in a gallon-sized Ziploc, and then you have magic dessert someday later when you get a craving.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So you want to spray it really good.
Yeah, this has a non-stick coating, but I still prefer to spray it just to be extra careful.
Once we're done, we're going to unmold it and take it out, and it's always a sad day when like half your stuffing stays in the bundt pan because you didn't spray it good enough. My husband calls it using a Jenn amount of spray because I tend to go overboard on this. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a little bit excessive. But then you don't just spray it, you have to like rub it into all the grooves, and you want to get out
Yeah,
all
if
the
you
extra.
oversprayed it, you don't want to leave that in there.
We're getting a nice simmer. This smell is Thanksgiving to me, even more than the turkey. It's good stuff. So we have a spice blend that we've been using with poultry seasoning, salt and pepper.
And some sage.
Some sage. But if you have your own spice blend that you like, you can just make sure you convert it down so the amounts are about the same. But you can use your own seasonings if you like.
So go ahead and we'll add the spices now.
All of them?
Yep.
Dump.
I like to add it into this mixture so that they get evenly mixed. They don't really need to cook.
There we go. So one of my favorite indicators that it's been enough time is that celery will turn like a deeper green color. The green changes, and sometimes I'll even leave a couple of fresh pieces of celery out just so I have something to compare to.
So we're going to go ahead and add our toasted breadcrumbs
Scoop it. We're going to do it
right
without a mess.
into our liquid. There we go.
So, and then this is the part that I'll take this out and move it because I tend to be a messy stirrer and bread will go everywhere.
Yeah, you just want to bring that liquid up and fold that down just like that.
Just a turn. And you have to be patient, which is something I struggle with in cooking. It's amazing how quickly it gets all incorporated. One of the things I really love though is that we've we've simmered the vegetables in here, we've mixed the bread in here. Now we're gonna put it into the bundt pan, and then all we have to do is just like wipe out the pot and use some water for pressure cooking in there. So we're not getting a saucepan dirty and a big bowl to mix it in dirty and whatever we're gonna bake our stuffing in dirty. It's just our Instant Pot for all of it. It's really nice. So you can see how in just that time it's nice and incorporated. The bread, you can see, is starting to be a little bit, I don't know, liquidy? Not liquidy. What's the right word, Mom? For like the tops of the crust is like
Yeah,
melting,
it's absorbed
sticky.
that.
It's sticky.
It's absorbed all that wonderful flavor. So we're going to go ahead and put it in the bundt.
So I usually do it with a spoon and just spoon it in. I know you use your hands and smash it.
Well, I spooned it in at first, but hands are very useful kitchen tools.
Yes, and
Don't
most
be-
people don't like.
Don't be afraid to get in there and get messy.
That's part of the fun stuff. On Thanksgiving, Mom would take her rings off, so that's how you knew it was serious. She was making bread and she was making stuffing, and that's the good stuff. See, and this is where I start thinking, oh, there's no way it's gonna fit. There's still like a third of a loaf in there. It will fit.
You can go ahead and put it on the ground so we can,
Oh, on the ground?
on the counter, so we can pack it in.
See, look, I got a finger dirty, Mom. Is that all of it?
It's pretty much all of it. Scrape out one more scoop.
It's good. I don't really like celery and peanut butter, but I could have celery and poultry seasoning all day.
All right. Okay, so we're just going to push that down.
You just kind of want to do your best to get it even, and if there's a side that's a little bit more sticky than the other side, sometimes I'll move it around a little bit so that it's all about the same. But this is a whole loaf of bread in a mini bundt pan.
Yeah, so that's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and cover it with foil. We sprayed the foil with a little bit of Pam. Go ahead and fit that around.
You want to make sure that it's fitted nice and tight, because if you have edges of the foil sticking out, it'll make it much harder to get into your pressure cooker. I'll just get that nice and tight. And then we always poke a hole just.
Yeah, I like to poke a hole in it so that the steam can come up in the middle. That helps it cook all around evenly. And then you're going to need a trivet to get it in and out of the pressure cooker. So we're going to use this OXO sling, which also acts as a trivet.
The Instant Pot brand makes some. Lots of different companies will make it. I like the trivet keeps the pan off the bottom and out of the water that you need to pressure cook, and it locks in place.
Okay, so when you're pressure cooking, you always have to have a liquid. We're going to use 1.5 cups of water.
Yep. And I like to add it first because then I can visually see, yes, the water's in there. This mini bundt pan is a good fit. There's still enough room for the steam to come up on the sides, but once it's in there, you really can't tell if the water's in there. So I always add it first because I've had a couple of times where we've been cooking and it's not coming to pressure and it's not coming to pressure, and I'm like, what is wrong with this? And it was user error. It was my fault.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and lock the lid in place.
Rings in place, we're good. And if you're using, you can make your own sling out of foil. You don't have to use this one. You can just use the trivet that comes with your machine and then take a long strip of foil and fold it like hot dog style, lengthwise.
Into thirds, so you have a long strip?
Yeah, I have elementary schoolers at home, so there's only hamburger style or hot dog style. So you fold it into 3 long strips and then you make sure that you've tucked them out of the way. If we weren't careful and left this in the way, there's a chance that the steam could escape while you're pressure cooking.
You wouldn't get a good seal.
So lock it in place.
So we're going to go ahead and set the time for 15 minutes.
It's a quick pressure release, so keep your ears open for when that timer beeps.
Okay, so we quick release the pressure. Go ahead and open it up, and we can take it out with our sling.
Okay. So now we get...
Let's just move this out of the way first.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take the foil off. There we go. Doesn't that look nice?
Yeah, it's yummy.
Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and invert it. We want to put it in the oven and brown it up.
So we just take the pan, flip it upside down. Is that right? The still pat moved. That's all right. Flip it over.
There we go.
Okay.
And loosen it up a little bit.
Ta-da! Adequately greased, pretty stuffing. Look at that.
So yeah, we're just going to put it in the oven for 5-10 minutes.
If you're not interested in crispy edges, I think you're a little crazy, but you could serve it like this. It's totally cooked through. It's great. If you're making ahead, our Thanksgiving countdown has us make this. We make this early in the morning on Thanksgiving Day, and then we just let it sit and cool on a wire cooling rack, and then we wait until the turkey's done, and then we crisp it up in the oven.
Okay, so we browned it up in the oven, and it's
really
looking
nice.
so pretty. Now we're going to turn it out onto a serving platter.
So what I did initially when I was doing this first time on my own, I would get like 2 spatulas and try and like move it over, but it always would like fall and break apart. Mom has like a technique.
Yeah, so you can just put that back on, and then
It's
you
really hot, the pan.
want to flip it back over like that. Take that off.
Okay,
You can just set that there on the stove, and then you put it on your serving plate. This one's kind of small, but it'll work great. And then flip it back.
got the plate.
Perfect.
It does work easier if you have someone in the kitchen to help you with that.
There we go. Look at that. Look at that. How
So
beautiful it
pretty.
looks.
And one of the things I like about the bundt is that it's got natural like cut lines on it, and so it just is.
Makes it fun and easy to serve. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and plate it up with some turkey and our stuffing, a little bit of gravy.
Give you an idea of what it looks like.
Okay, so there's your stuffing and your turkey. We've got a great mashed potato recipe as well.
A couple different kinds of cranberry jellies if you like it to be like the kind that comes in the can, or if you want it to be a more traditional cranberry sauce, we've got those. We've got pecan pies and pumpkin pies and
Everything you need for a great Thanksgiving dinner.
all the links. We'll put the links in the description, and along with the links to our. We'll just put all the Thanksgiving posts in our description.
So for more great recipes, be sure and like and subscribe.
Thank you so much for watching.